Set your project directory. Make sure it's set to a folder called Dynamics. Click OK. In previous lessons we used the dynamics to create wrinkles in clothing and to drape cloth over things. But there are other uses for dynamics. For example, creating morph targets or simulating flesh. Let's jump into our modeler, which is Wings 3D, and I'll walk you through the next step. I have a face here that we're going to animate using cloth dynamics. There are two materials applied to this face. One is the default material that Wings adds, called default, and the other one is hold, which is our purple material. The idea behind hold is to provide a loose animation cage that we can apply any effect to. The holds deform according to our X forms and bone effects, and the default material deforms according to the soft body dynamics, which is calculated between these. So we can have as many polygons as we want in between our control polygons, and the cloth dynamics will calculate everything else in between for us. The other reason for setting it up this way is if we need some interplay between parts of the mesh that are unrelated. If you move the cheek up, you will get some spots down here on the lower lip that move around. The reason behind all of this is to try and simulate a flesh-like material that moves along with it. But enough talk about that. Let's get started. Let's go to File. We're going to export this object right over top of itself, mouth.obj. Let's go up into Messiah. Let's go to File and load an object from the Objects folder called Mouth. This is our mouth that we looked at in Wings. Head into Setup. Set our mouth draw mode to smoothen edges for now. Go to the Effects tab, locate SoftBodyDynamics in the pull-down menu, and add that to the mouth. Select the SoftBodyDynamics node, go to Soft Mapping tab, and change the surface to reflect the surface assigned in Wings, which is a lowercase d default. So when we go into Animate and press play, we get a textbook example of soft body cloth. Let's change some of our settings here. Start with the stretch corrections. We'll lower those down to 5, and the subsamples we'll bring up to 5. Change our damping to 10. Our global weight will be half of what it is. Don't need to worry about internal pressure for now. Change the gravity scale to 0. And check hold. So when we keep pressing play, what we get is a kind of a jello-like effect. Let's go back into mouth here. We can move it up and down, and you see that it vibrates. So we know that the effect is working. Let's reset that keyframe. And let's go add some of our controls. Head back into Setup. Let's go to Mouth, and let's add a bone deform to that mouth. Just going to leave it at the default name, which is skeleton. Use the plus key on the keypad to add a bone. This will be the hold bone. So just move this back, make it really big. Let's add another bone to that. Go to the Bone tab, uncheck Align Z to Parent. Let's move this down the bottom. This will be the jaw. Multiply key to duplicate that. Let's move this up. Switch to a different view. And we'll put these right over the nostrils. Use the backslash key to mirror that across. So we have our nostril control. Let's actually move these forward. And make them a little smaller so their influences aren't too big. Let's take our jaw again. Let's multiply that. Position this up on the top. This will be a hold bone. So we can just change that to none. Same thing with our skeleton bone. So all we have are a set of controls. Let's go back to the nostril here. Let's duplicate that, and we'll move that down to the corner of the mouth and mirror that across. Let's duplicate that and quickly lay in parts of the cheeks. So we have a control for the cheeks, for the corners of the mouth, and the corners of the nostrils. We've also got a larger set of bones that we can add. Let's go to a perspective view here. We'll just make some hold bones for the jaw. We can mark those hidden. So now we have a set of basic controls for this. So we head back into Animate. We can pick up any one of these. Let's go to frame 30. We need to be into part of the calculation here so we can see what's going on. Now this is set to hold. That means everything that's deforming gets moved. You notice that it doesn't look like our cloth solver is being put on here. I'll head back into Setup, go to the Effects tab, and make sure that Soft Body Dynamics is the last effect calculated. So now when we go back into Animate, we get a different effect. When we move the nostril up, we get the soft cloth pulling our lips up. So we grab both of these and yank them up and get a kind of a sneer. Now we can add more effects to this. For example, if we multiply that and just move this over, we can actually assign more control down there. So now as it's moving up, we have a little bit of control on here. This is our hold taking effect. We can pick up everything else here and move it. See, our cloth dynamics are calculating more than we've actually added. And from here you can add different face poses, or you can just control this directly. There will be a more complete version of this inside the Rigged Models folder, but to get your brain started, this is a good idea on setting up a more complex character. So the basic steps to reproduce: make your model, assign a hold material around the portions of the model that you wish to have control over. Assign a different material for the Soft Body Dynamics to affect, and use the settings inside the Soft Body Dynamics node to affect how they're interpolated. Let's go to File. We're going to save this scene into the Scenes folder as SoftBodyDynamics 4.